What's up, everybody? It is December the 13th. Is it Friday the 13th?
It is.
Yes, it is.
Oh, man, I just now realized that. Oh, well, it is Friday the 13th, and it is a scary day today because there's a lot of injury news. But this is the Daily Fantasy Insiders TV show. Joining me, Dave Loughran, but they
Lochran.
they call him at Laufey_D, and then Leone, Mike Leone, from Roto Experts. I'm gonna let you handle this news that we have going on while I go get my dog under control. Dave, take away the news real quick.
All right. Yeah, first thing is we got Ed Davis and Tony Allen, who are both supposed to play tonight. So I don't know how that's going to affect John Lauer. I don't know what you think about that, Mike. I mean, he's been solid lately, but that's someone that, he's been looking at hovering around 20, 30 minutes per game, and I'm a little bit hesitant to play him. Another one is Brooke Lopez, who's questionable tonight. Definitely go with Andre Blatch. He's a great value option if Lopez is unable to suit up. I'll let you take a couple more of them. Go ahead, Mike.
Yeah, I think what you said with the Memphis situation, I don't think you can touch Lauer if both Ed Davis and Tony Allen are in the lineup, and Blatch definitely, moves up the value charts if Lopez is out. The other one, Nene and Bradley Beal aren't expected to play for the Wizards. I think Martell Webster is supposed to play. I've seen him cheap on Star Street. Trevor Booker keeps value at power forward if Nene's out. I know Tiago Splitter's remaining out for San Antonio. Jermaine O'Neal's out for Golden State. We could see Bogut, especially facing Dwight. We could see him see, over 30 minutes, which always makes him a good option. I know Drew Dinkmeyer in the Fantasy Rundown today was talking about that. Trying to see, did I miss anything
He
else?
We have
he
Martell
loves them.
Webster's 5,900 on FanDuel, and that's a fantastic price for him tonight. And Trevor Booker, you said Nene's unlikely to play, right? So you have Booker at 4,000 on FanDuel. That's another solid price. Not injury news, but the situation in Toronto is very intriguing right now, with Rudy Gay being shipped out, sent back to the States. You got, maybe Terrence Ross could see about 20, 28, 30 minutes tonight in a game where he should be able to put some points up and meet value, where definitely against the poorest defensive team in the Philadelphia 76ers. So I like that. More importantly, though, you have Kyle Lowry tonight. It's an early game, which is nice, but if you're like me and has to go out with my girlfriend for her birthday on Friday the 13th, yeah, that's
Uh-oh.
I'm not hearing Dave.
I think he cut out on us. I
I think
think.
so.
Do you think his girlfriend?
I
Uh,
think she's playing some tricks over there. It's her birthday. She wants the attention. No, but what Dave was talking about, Kyle Lowry, a lot of trade rumors with him. Nets and Kings interested, or I'm sorry, Nets and Knicks interested. And, we saw when Rudy Gay got traded, a lot of people were stuck with a zero. It's especially difficult tonight because the matchup is a dream matchup. Philadelphia is last in defensive efficiency against point guards. They push the pace. So on one hand, he's an amazing value play. On the other hand, if he gets yanked because of a trade, you're screwed.
yeah, and it's possible to yank him in the middle of a game. We've seen it happen before, and that is not something I'm looking forward to. But with that being said, I think DeRozan makes for a quality play tonight. The Sixers are awful against shooting guards, so and if Larry is out, then you have another opportunity. You look at Terrence Ross. I think he's 3,500 on FanDuel. He's minimum salary, and he's put 17 and a half fantasy points up in consecutive games. It's not a lot, but you're just looking to meet value there. And I think he could easily exceed that tonight if he sees at least 25 minutes.
so, I wanted this trade to happen. I did not want a veto because I think the Grievous Vasquez is going to do absolute work in replace of Kyle Lowry. I'm already trying to target him in the one season long league that I'm in because he loves the pick and roll. And you saw what he did last year for the Pelicans, how many assists he had. If he's that starting point guard, I think that first game back is going to be that sweet spot and value for where his price tag is. So I'm looking for that trade to happen. I was hoping that it would happen rather than not happen, but such is life. It was interesting though, Dave, when I saw your cover guy was Kyle Lowry because there is some risk there. But people might be off of that play, therefore giving him even more value.
Yeah, look, I know it's a risk. Don't get me wrong. And Scott actually, Sports 25 to Life actually mentioned that today. But I just think the matchup is so good that I mean, it really is. If you ask me, it's the best matchup in basketball tonight, hands down. Like if you're looking at one position and one player to exploit 100% at a fair price, a mid-range salary, that's your guy. And I'm willing to take the risk on that tonight. As long, not me personally, because I'm not going to be around. But if I was around, there's no question that I would, monitor that situation, have a backup, but definitely have Lowry in my lineup tonight. No questions asked.
Yeah, I mean, not to beat a dead horse, but if you look at what point guards are doing against Philadelphia, I can't remember the last time I took a point guard against them that didn't hit value. It's that consistent, the production coming against them. It's not like they give up a few big games and then hold guys. I mean, it's night in and night out. Rubio hit value this past, Wednesday.
He went way above.
It's just every night guys are hitting their value thresholds against Philadelphia, the point guards.
I mean, Dave, they're allowing 112 points per game on the road. They're 1-9 away from Philadelphia, and they've lost 9 straight games on the road. When you look at fantasy points allowed to point guards, not only are they last, but they're last by a wide margin. I mean, teams aren't even close to what they're allowing per game. It's insane. And with Larry's ability to score and dish out assists and get some steals, you're looking at a guy that should easily exceed value tonight.
Yeah, and with Rudy Gay out of town, that opens up a lot more of an offensive role for Lowry, which isn't necessarily, all the way factored into his price yet.
Right, and it's not like his assist totals were high because of Rudy Gay, because he misses so many shots anyway,
Mm-hmm.
Did you guys, when I was out, sorry, I had to get, don't tell my wife this, but I got her an iPhone, so I had to sign for the package.
Nice.
So,
I got the new one about an hour ago. It's really nothing great. No, I'm just joking. Well, it's really cool, Dave. She'll love it.
What the heck?
No, it is. It's great.
Oh,
I enjoy it.
Wah, 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 wah. Debbie Downer, it's what Tara Bad said. But Russell Westbrook tonight they said that Kobe is going to be guarding him, and he's obviously lost a step. Kobe has. Even if he's as good as he was last year offensively, he's lost a step on the defensive side. Russell loves to play in LA. I mean, we kind of half-heartedly talk about the psychology factor, but he does. He loves it. And you look at his averages while playing in LA, and it's just tremendous. After
near triple-double.
Yeah. After what he did on after what he'd done, even the past 2 games, even Tuesday was a decent game for him. This is the 3rd game in 4 nights for them, I'm pretty sure, because they played on Tuesday, Wednesday, and now Friday. But still, he is a guy that I will definitely be targeting. And in Scott Sports 25 to Life, his article the day before tomorrow, he lists Russell Westbrook. Sometimes Russell's name gives me a speech impediment. But
Westbrook.
Russell Westbrook, he has him as the lock of the night.
Yeah, I had him up there too tonight as in the top tier as a point guard. I love him. Look, there's a potential blowout factor there, but I don't think it matters. Last season in 4 games, he averaged nearly a triple-double. 7 assists, almost 10 rebounds. 7 rebounds, almost 10 assists. 23 points. It's really hard not to like him tonight. And on the opposite end, call me a glutton for punishment, but I'm willing to take a gamble on Kobe Bryant with his price so low on certain sites. I don't think they can restrict him to 28 minutes tonight. And maybe if they're going to, maybe I missed that. I've been out all day. But I haven't seen anything on his minutes yet, and I wouldn't be surprised if he plays north of 30 minutes and takes a lot of shots. He's going to have to facilitate. He's going to have to do a lot. And I think because he's so cheap, you don't need 50 fantasy points from him tonight.
Yeah, if you're looking at Westbrook, I mean, Dave, like you said, Kobe's lost a step, so it's not like we're getting a premier defender on him. The Lakers are a fast-paced team. They're near the bottoms in defensive efficiency against point guards. So I think there's enough there to play Westbrook, even with him not getting the plus matchup against Steve Nash that he's taken advantage of in the past. And I also like Kobe. He's going to have to run the point. We saw last year when he had to run the point, his assist totals immediately skyrocketed, making him a much safer player, not just a pure scorer.
Yeah, like 10 assists a game. I remember that.
Yeah, that's when he refused to shoot.
He did. I actually thought Carmelo Anthony was going to start doing that a couple games ago. Getting the poor me syndrome because he was shooting like 12 a game, coming off of 24 a game. But he's been great too. I just think with Kobe, he's going to have to shoot regardless. And I put in the column, he's so competitive. The competitive nature that guy has. Against an Oklahoma City team. I really do think he's going to come out and at least try and do everything he can tonight to keep the game relatively close, even though I don't think it will be.
Yeah, there's a couple of sites, Star Street being one of them, where he's just so exceptionally cheap that, there's almost no risk to throwing him out there. It's all profit.
Yeah, he's 10 grand, 10% on Fan Throwdown. I mean, cheaper than guys that you would never consider playing if he's at that price.
Yeah, I think he's even cheaper on Star Street too. So, and DraftDay is another one where, when you look at FanDuel, DraftKings, he's kind of hovering that line where is the risk worth the reward. But on the sites we just mentioned, Fan Throwdown, Star Street, DraftDay, I think you got to lock him in.
Yeah, he's too much on Draft Street too.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I wouldn't. I mean, unless he really picks it up, I'm not rostering him on Draft Street.
No, definitely not on Draft Street.
Especially
15%.
And that site scoring doesn't exactly fit his skill set the greatest.
Yeah, it's not conducive to missing 40 shots a game.
But on Draft Day, he is 9,600, and
Wow.
if he could put up, and he was 85 or 8,600 and was heavily owned, so I think he'll be heavily owned again tonight. On Draft Day, though, a guy that has been the one bright spot, maybe, Carmelo, if you want to call him a bright spot, I'm not sure, but Stat is getting back to, Amari Stoudemire is getting back to his old ways, and he's still minimum salary across a few different sites, including Draft Day. Do you trust him? Do you trust him to do anything significant that he might be worth a roster spot?
Minimum salary or in general?
Minimum salary.
Fortunately, you don't need to trust him at minimum salary. I mean, really, he a minimum salary, what he can give you, yeah, he's okay. He's fine at minimum salary. What does he need to do? 15 points? The upside's there for 25, 27. So, yeah, I don't see an issue with that. But if he starts coming up, say I don't know how much he is on FanDuel, but say he's 48 or 5 on FanDuel, I'm not going to go near him.
Mike?
Yeah, I'm a little bit more conservative with taking a cheap guy. I still like to see, almost 20 points and probably some upside beyond that. So, I don't know. He's not really someone that I'm working into lineups tonight, even with the cheap price.
Yeah, he's not someone you target, but if you've constructed a lineup and, you really like that lineup and you have minimum salary left and, you look at this guy, he has 20 points, 20 fantasy points, then 20, 26, then 31, and his minutes have jumped from 21 to 27 to 30, and I didn't know that over the past 3 games. So I do think there might be some upside there. He's got 14 or more points in each of his last 4 games. 3 games. He had 9 rebounds in his last game. So he might be rounding back into form. So, yeah, minimum salary. I'll
Yeah,
take it. I'll take
I
it.
hadn't really noticed. I didn't catch the 30 minutes last game either, so I might change my tune on that one a little bit.
No, I say you gotta, but it's true. No one, he was not really on the radar because how many times has he had a 25-point game last year and then he just falls off for another 3 weeks? So he's the
Right.
kind of guy, you sort of ignore him.
Yeah, he is. That's why, I mean, like I was saying, he is the one bright spot, especially with all the different injuries. He's a
Yeah, I
guy,
mean,
you know.
sorry, go ahead.
I'm just saying that he's certainly in play if you need a cheap guy over there on DraftDay and a few other sites where he is minimum salary. I think he's pretty close to there, maybe even on DraftKings.
41 on FanDuel, and he is. Oh, never mind. Sorry, I was in. This is how he's 32 on DraftKings. So yeah.
So you gotta love the. I mean, if he can go for a double, it just seemed like last game watching him, he seemed like the stat of old, like back in, like he thought it was Phoenix again. I have a little bit of discussion going on in the chat talking about Patrick Beverly, and his defensive skills. I think Beverly's legit on the defensive side of the ball. Like someone mentioned, he pestered Lillard last night, and he is just the. He's just a fun guy to watch. Sometimes his offensive ability is offensive. Yes. But in this game tonight, let's spend just a few minutes talking about this Rockets Warriors game. There's a lot of goodness in this game, even though you have the Rockets coming on a back-to-back. Oh man, I mean there's just so much. Are you comfortable in taking any of the expensive guys in this game?
I mean, if you're playing in a qualifier or a large field tournament, I think you got to look at Stephen Curry. Even with, Beverly's defensive skills, it's going to be such an up and down game. It seems that it'll suit him well, and he's just been on fire lately. I think he's a little too expensive for, a main standard cash game, though. And Dwight Howard's a guy I've talked about in the past. I'm pretty much just playing his price, and for me,
Exactly.
he's come up to a point where I'm not comfortable taking him, even though he did have a good game against Golden State last time out.
I think Howard's price is actually cheaper than expected on some sites. On FanDuel, he's $700 cheaper than DeMarcus Cousins. So on a site like that where he's $9,000, I think he's well worth a look, considering he put up 50 points on FanDuel the other week against Golden State. What's interesting, though, you bring up Patrick Beverly. This guy, I don't know if it was him or just Curry being off because I didn't actually see the game. I was at work that night. He shut Stephen Curry down last week. Stephen Curry was shut down, whether he shut himself down or whatever it was. But he did not have a good game. I mean, he had his lowest fantasy output, in over 10 games against Houston. So you look at Patrick Beverly, this guy's recorded 2 or more steals in 6 of his last 7 games. He like you said, he's been hounding people on the defensive end of the ball. So if he's really cheap, and he is on some sites, I don't see it a bad idea to take him, especially because Curry's turning the ball over a lot lately too. He had 8 turnovers the other night?
7 or 8, yeah.
Steals are worth a lot of points. Steals and assists, man. I target that. I target steals and assists and those sites that, reward bonuses.
What about James Harden? He looks like he's rounding into form. Are you okay with playing James Harden?
I don't know why. He always gives me a bad feeling. I like him tonight, but there's something about Harden that always has me concerned. He's just – Stephen Curry's the kind of guy that rarely puts up a bad performance. He usually always meets value, but Harden can have those games where he puts up 12 points with 48 turnovers. So I do like him. I definitely like him. But he's not so – I'd rather spend my money elsewhere. I guess you could put it that way. I'd rather spend on Westbrook tonight.
Yeah, I think I'd agree with that, especially at shooting guard in the same game. I like Klay Thompson. He's coming off a brutal game, but for a shooter, I think he's a little. You saw the risk last game, but in general, he might be a little bit safer than other shooting guards. He's been dishing the ball a little bit more since Iggy went down. He plays a high amount of minutes every game. Houston, they're not very good in defensive efficiency against shooting guards, fast-paced game. I like him better for the price than I like Harden for his price.
Yeah, and Thompson is shooting 57% at home and 50% from behind the arc at home, opposed to 40% field goal percentage on the road and 41% three-point. So you got a point there. His lack of peripherals sometimes scare me because he can have games, with 1 assist and 2 rebounds. But his ability to drain threes has been phenomenal. So, yeah, he's definitely worth a look in what should be a really high-scoring game.
You see this?
That's a thumb going down.
That is what I think of Klay Thompson tonight.
Hey, I don't play him either. I stay away from guys that can't give me peripheral stats. I don't trust the pure shooters. But I think Mike has a point tonight in the game. I think Thompson could have a really good game.
Give me Harden over Thompson tonight, even though.
Oh well, yeah, but
I'm talking about even like value. Like I think.
Let's
Harden,
put it on the board. Put it on the board, Kitchen.
But if you're paying the same price, you'll take. If you're saying that if they're the same price, you'd take Harden, or just in general, because anyone would take Harden.
Well,
I think he's saying Harden will have better value than Thompson tonight.
Oh, okay.
We'll use your constant.
Yeah, probably.
We'll use your constant. On DraftDay, Harden is 15.6, and let's see what Klay is. He is 11.6.
Sure, let's pick the site where they're priced closest together.
Well, I'm just picking our sponsor site. Sounds like someone's backing up. It's 4,000. It's like 66%.
All right.
Let's mosey over to DraftKings where Harden's 10 grand and Klay Thompson's 64.
Yeah, if you look at Draft Street, Harden's 19 and Klay's 11.5.
Wow.
If you look at FanDuel, Harden's 9,400, Klay is 6,800.
Dave's pulling some sneaky stuff over there, man.
But you know what, Dave? I will still take it. I will let you maybe have an out by picking the most advantageous pricing that you can find.
Oh, okay. Well, thank you. Thank you for letting me have an out by choosing the site that sponsors the show as the measurement and even giving you the constant factor as far as the how you measure. So yeah, excuse me for being all fair and proper. My bad. So we'll do the let's see, what's a good target score for DraftDay? 300? I think.
Well, because they changed their scoring midway through last season.
5, 6, 7, 8, 9. So 3x plus 3 would be the constant. Correct?
Yeah.
Okay, maybe someone can figure that out. I think
I don't know. I've been using like 2x plus 10 for them, but maybe that's too much of a constant.
No, 2x plus 10's fine. It's your show, whatever. So let's move.
It's your show.
Let's move on to to Andrew Bogut, though I know you talked about earlier. Dink loves him. I love him too. It's he's a cheap source for rebounds. I mean, he gets a lot of love on the boards. So we'll see. Mm-hmm. I like him as a play tonight, and then the next game is this Kings game. The Kings. I thought that I was in such good position last Wednesday or 2 days ago because I stacked the Kings everywhere. And I was like, they're playing against the Jazz at home. We're gonna have a good game. They're not gonna get blown out by 20-something, and you're not gonna see the Jazz shoot 60% from 3-point. I mean, everything that could go wrong in that game did, including Cousins getting 2 fouls in the first half and then sitting the whole entire second quarter. Maloney is full of baloney for allowing that to happen. You don't do that. You let him play. Otherwise, he just shuts down. He gets pouty, and I don't know. It wasn't just. I don't feel good about Cousins tonight, even going against the Suns.
I love him.
What are you trying to do to me, Mike?
Sorry,
You're messing with my head. You love DeMarcus Cousins for even where his price tag is.
No, I'm looking maybe as a tournament play, but if you look at FanDuel, I mean, when he gets the problem with him is the risk in the minutes. But you've got DraftDay, and they've got really cool looking game logs. If you pull his up, look at the games where he's played 35 or more minutes, and look at the scores. I don't know if he's had a game less than 47 fantasy points. That's insanely elite, production. FanDuel, he's averaging 1.36 FanDuel points per minute. So he even just needs to play 32 minutes, and he's on pace to, go 4x plus 5, hit his value threshold there. So he's a guy that I think there's just so much upside that I feel more comfortable taking him at 9,700 than Dwight at 9,000.
Yeah, what do you think the dynamic's going to look like with him and Rudy Gay in there tonight?
Yeah, I mean, that certainly adds to the risk there, but...
Like there wasn't risk to begin with DeMarcus Cousins. He will choke Rudy Gay in the third quarter. He will absolutely choke him.
Well, good. Then Gay will be off the floor.
I'm going to predict. Dink said, I mean, it could either go two ways. Dink says all the offensive rebounds. If someone will watch this game, I'm going out with my wife and her cousin and her husband tonight, so I'll be checking the scores from my phone. If someone will watch this game, though, and tell me how many times DeMarcus Cousins flails his arms when he sees Rudy Gay take a shot, it's going to happen because he does it already, and he's never played with someone like Rudy. He is going to get so frustrated from not getting the ball, not being the focal point.
I don't understand the move. I mean, I understand that they want to get some production, but I just don't think it's worth it, and I don't think he's the kind of guy that you want on I don't think he's the kind of guy that's going to help you succeed in the long run. I don't understand it. Maybe there's something I'm missing. But just because, look, anyone that shoots 30 times a game can average 20 points per game on the season.
Yeah.
I don't know. I'm not a big fan of it. But I guess we'll have to see.
I'm more worried about Gay screwing up, Isaiah Thomas's value and some of the other guys than I am Cousins's. But I could be wrong. We'll see.
I'll say this as my last piece on this whole situation. Maybe eventually it will work out, but I think they're going to have some just time to adjust. Talking from someone that had a, we had a gay cousins thing in our family, and they were really hard to accept them, and it's going to be the same way in this game. Everything is good now, but at first it was, it was a little bit rocky, and people have to get used to that.
Wait, are you going with this where I think you're going? Am I hearing this wrong?
No.
You said
the gay cousins combo. It's always a little bit rocky, especially in conservative families. But then everything irons out. It's all good.
Listen, did you set that one up before the show?
I set it up when it first happened. I was like, I have to make a gay cousins joke. By the way, I love my gay cousins. They're the best. I promise.
Oh, true story?
Yeah, true story.
I actually have a gay cousin too. He's a good guy.
I think everyone has a gay cousin, whether they realize it or not. It just kind of seems that way.
Whether the cousin realizes it or whether they realize it.
Right, exactly. So anyways, moving off of that, onto the Suns. Bledsoe against Isaiah Thomas tonight. That's going to be a fun little matchup to watch when they're both handling the ball. And it seems like Bledsoe last game, he's handling the ball, or coach said that, Sidney Lowe says that he feels better, or that when both Dragic and Bledsoe are on the floor at the same time, it's a little more comfortable when Bledsoe is handling the ball. So it's going to be, I think, a pretty good matchup. This game, though, has it's the second highest over-under. The Suns, of course, favored at home. But the Bledsoe-Dragic combo is going to be fun to watch tonight. Mike, I'll let you take this.
Yeah, I'm a big Bledsoe fan. I'm looking where he's priced at FanDuel, for example. And his average game is... Shoot, I just had it up. He's averaging 32.8 FanDuel points per game, and he probably only needs around 33, 34 to get value. So whenever you get a guy that's priced at a point where he just needs his average game to hit value, I like taking advantage of that. And then you mentioned the high total, and you also look at Sacramento. I think they're 27th in defensive efficiency against shooting guards. They're down there against point guards too, however you want to consider Bledsoe. So he's someone that I'm definitely on tonight.
Dave?
Yeah, the reason, like Mike said, the reason Bledsoe is such a valuable commodity in daily fantasy basketball is because he's so consistent. He hasn't exhibited like the upside that we had all anticipated, or at least I had. Like the 50-point upside. I guess a couple times this season, but that doesn't matter when you're putting up a solid 35, 36 fantasy points every single game. And what I thought was really nice the other night to see was that Dragic managed to put up 30 points while Bledsoe still managed to put up, I think, 18 or 20 and I think 9 assists. So, they're learning to cohabitate there in Phoenix, and that's really important. And I just think if they can play well with each other, they're going to be excellent going forward, especially, being able to exploit positive matchups like they did against the Lakers. Bless you.
Bless you.
I thought turned down the mic, but I guess you guys could still hear me.
Just mute it.
I don't think they actually heard it. I think
it's probably better we heard it, because it would have looked really weird just seeing you flail around and no noise.
Someone asked what. Actually, Jordan Case is the one who asked it regarding Bledsoe and Dragic. Which one you feel more comfortable with? That always is going to be pretty much every night a situation where you pick one or the other. Drew had a kind of epic story against Condia where he figured out they probably both had Bledsoe. Well, he didn't know. So the last player to go, he switched it to Dragic, and sure enough, Dragic outscored Bledsoe with some free throws in the end to put him over the top.
Like 8 free throws in the last 2 minutes, and he made all of them. It was awesome.
And they took away an assist from Bledsoe that took away the double-double. And so
that screwed me. I was wondering what happened.
It was like -3 points. It was awesome. So yeah, I think that watching that game though is exactly why last time I talked about not knowing what you're going to get with the Phoenix big men. I would stay away from the Phoenix big men tonight. Marcus Morris just went insane. You don't know between those 4 big men that they have who's going to have a really good night. And so maybe for tournaments, you roll out one that is like a cheap play and you think might have a good game. But between the Morris twins, Channing Frye, and Plumlee, you're going to have it's just kind of basically a shot in the dark. So I would stay away from them. Shelly86 says, any cheap value plays tonight? We talked about Stat. We talked about Kobe on some certain sites. Any other cheap guys that you guys are looking at, especially with the injury news?
Yeah, Mike and I brought a couple up earlier, but Terrence Ross will be one of them. Trevor Booker's another one.
And
I'll let Mike. I got a couple more. You know who else? Joe Val over in Toronto. He's somebody that I think could be productive tonight. Look, he's been very erratic, and he hasn't done what I think everyone thought he was poised for a breakout season, kind of like Andre Drummond. But he's got a really good matchup tonight, and Philadelphia is allowing the second most fantasy points to centers over the past 15 games, second only to the Bucks, who have been killed by centers. But yeah, I think he could have a really decent game tonight. He's 4,900 on FanDuel, and I could see him easily exceeding that. Another one, he's not necessarily value, but sticking with the same team. Honestly, I like the entire Toronto team tonight. I think Amir Johnson's been phenomenal lately. If you were lucky enough to play him last Sunday, you probably won. He's been great, and he's 6,200 on FanDuel, so it's not value, but it's definitely, of relative value considering what he's priced around. Tristan Thompson, 6,600 too.
Yeah, that situation with Jonas it's kind of weird with Dwayne Casey. Dink brought it up, said he's killing Jonas. I don't think everyone doesn't think he's a good fit for the system, but he's still in there. And the guy that is it's interesting because they played the Spurs, and he didn't really have a really good game. But the Spurs are going to be without Splitter and is it Baines that they're out? I always get yeah. Okay, so it's Baines. They also have Bayris or whatever his name is. I played Boris Diaw on DraftKings on Wednesday when I saw this news. I did a little bit of a late swap, and I hated myself initially, and then Boris got a bunch of garbage time. But I think really the winner in this is A, Pekovic, and B, Tim Duncan. Tim Duncan just went
Timmy D.
absolutely nuts and did it all in 3 quarters. This game is going to be a little bit closer. It's going to be probably a pretty high-scoring game. But I love Pekovic tonight. He had a really good game on Wednesday, and I just don't think that the Spurs have anyone that can stop Peck on the glass. Mike, I'll get your take on that.
Yeah, I think that's a good play with Splitter out. The guy I like a lot in this game, sorry to change subject, but Tony Parker, I find him pretty underpriced on a lot of sites. I'd say he's almost a must play on Draft Street in a game that should be a little bit closer against Minnesota team that is second in the NBA in pace. So Parker's the guy I like most in this game.
Dave?
Yeah, Tim Duncan for me is definitely a quality play, especially because he's not that expensive, on most sites. I think 7,600, no, 7,200 on FanDuel is just such a nice price for someone with his upside. Minnesota is actually they allowed the highest field goal percentage to opposing power forwards this year, and when Duncan gets on a roll, he can nail 8 straight. Like he's just that kind of player, and I mean he's one of the most consistent. I don't like to say consistent anymore because of the minutes. But when you give the guy the minutes, it's really hard to bet against him. Mm-hmm. And I think, like you mentioned a minute ago, Dave, he should get the minutes. He should get, a pretty good helping of minutes tonight, in what should be a relatively close game, at least throughout most of it. And I think that, look, this was the game that got smoked out a couple weeks ago. So it'll be interesting to see if he can redeem himself, because I had Tim Duncan in a lot of lineups that night.
You and a few other people in the chat did as well. And I did too. Me and Mike both had them in there. Is that the night we had exact lineups?
I think we've had a couple the past week where we've had the same. That might have been, I think that was it, yeah.
But yeah, I think his price has gone up a little bit since the fire, as we all know it. But yeah, I think he's a good play, and Kevin Love, I'm pretty sure we talked about this last time, the day of the fire, but he might have, it's going to be interesting to see who's on him. He might have Kawhi Leonard on him, or someone that is going to chase him down, a defensive specialist, so we'll see. Dink says, stop laughing. Mike says, I can't. I want to get to the pick 5 real quick by our sponsor, DraftDay. And we don't have to spend a whole lot of time, but definitely we were perfect 2 nights ago. And then last show, we were 4 out of 5. So, or this is me. I mean, so whatever I say, pretty much just go with. Don't listen to these guys. Steph Curry versus Kevin Durant.
Kevin Durant.
Wow. I'm going to go with Curry here, because this could be a blowout in Oklahoma City, even though Durant's really hard to bet against. I'm going to go with Curry.
Oh, man. I have to go with my boy KD. Just have to.
Okay. We'll see.
I think that he's just a safer play.
But he's safe.
K-Love versus Russ Westbrook.
I'm going Westbrook tonight.
This one's a trap. I'll go ahead and tell you that right now. It's a trap. Go ahead, Mike.
I'm going to fall into the trap and take Kevin Love.
Westbrook for me. I really like him tonight.
Oh, boy. After you just said it might be a blowout. I'm going to go with K-Love. I think the trap is the opposite of what you think. I think the trap is
really?
what Dave just fell into.
So
Dave,
maybe it's not a trap at all then.
Dave, check your leg because you definitely just stepped in the Scott Malwig Draft Day Rapid Fire trap.
We'll see what happens tonight. I'll be in touch.
I'm liking this pick 5 so far. I think I'm going to play. I'm logging on right now.
Clearly, we have 3 different picks so far, so or 2 or 3 different picks. So it's going to be interesting.
Paul George versus DeMarcus Cousins.
DeMarcus.
I'm going Paul George, man.
Well, one of us is
I like. He averaged nearly a triple-double against Charlotte last year, and he looked really bad the other night against LeBron and the Heat. I think he's going to bounce back nicely at home tonight. I'm going Paul George.
Yeah, Paul George is going to do great those first 2.5 quarters. He can't score though while on the bench.
Yeah, this game. I mean, you've got 2 of the teams that are in the bottom 5 in pace in the league. I think one of the largest spreads on the night, so that just worries me a little bit.
So you've got a blowout factor and the choke factor. I'll go ahead and go with the choke factor and hope that DeMarcus Cousins gets some offensive rebounds.
Right, because there's no risk with DeMarcus Cousins. He's one of the safest plays on the board tonight, huh?
You guys just wait till he puts up 50 fantasy points tonight.
This is a conspiracy, man.
No, it's a conspiracy because you're choosing where to see your risk, Dave. You talk about the blowout factor with Kevin Durant and pick Curry, and then you choose Westbrook in the next sentence.
It's different, man. It's different. I have my own.
And then you ignore the blowout factor in the Paul George game. This next one also a trap. It's we've got to get the booby trap clip from Goonies for this rapid fire stuff that we do.
It's got to be. Oh, sorry. Go ahead. I jumped ahead and looked at it.
No, go ahead.
I mean, it's got to be Carmelo over DeRozan, I think.
It has to. It has to. This one is an easy one. Scott's going to change it as soon. I mean, Scott's changing it right now because I'm telling you, it's really easy.
Yeah,
I'm going DeRozan.
Oh my
God!
Stop it,
Dave! Stop it!
DeRozan's gonna do it now.
You got to go with Carmelo Anthony in this, no question, man. He's been so consistent lately. Yeah, Carmelo Anthony, but
I think this is a good pick 5 to do one of the 3 of 5 because you've got Carmelo versus DeRozan, Love versus Westbrook, where guys are just their average points are so much higher than the other guy. I know matchup matters, but I think if you keep just picking the safer plays, you're going to get 3 of 5.
Yeah. I think
I'm gonna
go ahead. No, you go.
I'm gonna write these down. And,
all right.
And this is gonna be interesting.
I'm playing it, so we'll have proof.
I wish we could have a head-to-head pick 5.
Well, we also have. I know it's crazy, but we also have video proof. If you go to our YouTube channel, youtube.com/fantasy
Don't
insiders.
patronize me, Dave.
I'm just saying, you guys wanting to use a pad and paper.
Dave, we know what we're doing. We're old school, okay?
Pad and paper. I'm sitting on a laptop.
Oh,
on.
Man.
Microsoft Word.
Okay, well, word to your mother. We have a few questions. We have 7 minutes left in the...
We didn't do the last one, did we?
Oh, yeah, we're all on Lowry.
Mike's excited over
Oh, okay. Yeah, Lowry.
Yeah, that's the one we can agree on.
Well, I'm not even looking at it. Who is it?
It's Lowry versus Jennings. Stop it. Let's not even go there. We're all on Lowry.
I guess if you think they're pretty close, you could take Jennings, and then you have that, if Lowry gets traded, it's an automatic win.
Yeah, if Jennings hadn't been turning the ball over 6 times every game, it would be a different story. He's turning the ball over at an incredible rate right now.
I mean, I'm going Lowry. I'm just talking, theoretically.
Me too. I'd go Lowry if Jennings wasn't turning the ball over. My point is he'd be playing much, he'd be much more relevant in fantasy terms if he was holding on to the ball.
Oh, man. Well, I thought that was going to be a no-brainer, but now you guys
we're on Lowry.
Okay,
We're just
okay. Let's just all be on Lowry.
We like to talk it out, that's all.
That's how I talk it out. That was bad.
It's not all black and white, Dave.
We have some questions in the chat. Still now 6 minutes left in the show. Well, we could go a few minutes extra since it took a little bit to set up. Bledsoe or Lowry, same price.
Lowry.
I like them both. I think Lowry. There's just so much upside against Philly. I'll go Lowry, but I say play both.
Yeah, I think the upside lies with Lowry, but they're both really solid plays.
I'd agree.
You guys are wrong. It's Bledsoe. It's all about the Bledsoe tonight, but that's okay.
I won't fight you on that.
I'll get my pen out for that one.
I'm sure you have the pen that has the eraser on it. That's your style, and you're using red ink too. Let's see. Jordan Hill starting tonight. Is he a value play? Ooh.
He's not even a valid play.
Stop it. He is.
He's a guy. I mean, when we look at fill-in players, I like to look at fantasy points per minute, and he's a high energy player, rebounds a lot. His fantasy points per minute are pretty strong. So if he's starting, I'll consider him where he's cheap, just because I think you got a pretty decent floor. Even if D'Antoni messes around, it only gives him 20-25 minutes as a starter.
Yeah.
My problem is that his price hasn't come down to where it should be right now.
Yeah, as I'm looking at it, I wish that price had fallen more. He's still 10K on Draft Street, 5-6 on FanDuel. So
he's 45 on DraftKings, but yeah, like you said, Draft Street and FanDuel, I'm going to stay away from that because, look, we all know he went on that incredible tear for a week, but that was bound to end, and it ended. Not only did it end, but he got relegated to bench duties. So
it comes down to minutes, though, because when he plays, if you even look at the last 3 games, he's scoring more than a fantasy point per minute. Even on efficiency sites, he's scoring more than fantasy point per minute. So
yeah, absolutely. But the problem there though is Sean Williams started the other night and played 15 minutes. So just because you're in the starting lineup doesn't necessarily mean that you're going to get the production. That's why he worries me. It's not what he can do; it's what he's going to have the opportunity to do.
Yeah. So he's starting at the center spot then tonight. So he'll be matched up against Perkins?
Wait, he's starting at center?
That's my question.
Power forward, I think.
Yeah, so he'll be up against Serge, right?
Yeah, and Oklahoma City's actually allowed, I think, the 5th most fantasy points. He might be starting at center. I don't know. I know he started at power forward before, though.
Let's use a lifeline to our chat to see if maybe they can help out.
Drew's in there, right?
Yeah.
Ask our buddy Drew.
Some more questions. Jason Thompson, any love? No, he is back on the bench. Do not give him any love. Thoughts
He's starting.
Are you sure?
I think Derek Williams is on the bench.
I thought they both were on the bench. Here, I need to pull.
Maybe I saw something wrong. I thought Jason Thompson's starting. But I don't like him anyways. I'm with you, but I just wanted to point out
he is starting. Okay.
I don't like a lot of their secondary options anyways, just because I love Cousins, but outside of that, you throw Cousins or you throw Rudy Gay in there. He's going to command touches, and then you also consider that these guys' prices have risen because they've been playing a lot of minutes that they're not going to keep playing with the guys they traded for now available to fill in.
Some more questions. Would you slightly downgrade Drummond if Brolo, who is allergic to boards, is a no-go?
Yeah, I had that in the FanDuel Friday thing today. I think that with Lopez in there, he's ineffective on the glass 100%. So I really do think that ups Drummond's value, especially on FanDuel. He's 7,800, so he's dropped significantly in price over several sites. 7,800 with that guy's upside. Oh my God, the things that he could do tonight is amazing against Brooklyn. But I think when I look, their defensive efficiency against centers is in like the top 5 though. But I don't know.
The question was, would you downgrade Drummond?
Right, and that's what I'm getting at. And I'm saying with Lopez in, he's valuable. With Lopez out, Drummond has shown that he's had lulls in production over the course of the season. So I would downgrade him a little bit, yeah.
Drummond has had just 2 mediocre games. So I'm a little bit off of the Drummond train. But if you're ever playing in a qualifier, if his price is decent, he's he's one of those guys that can get you 50 fantasy points.
He's phenomenal qualifier play.
Uh, what about Blatch though? On the opposite side of this, last night he went off. If there's no Brolo, he might have to play a lot of minutes tonight, and they also might have to go small, which reduces Drummond's value if they go that route. Also, but we have Blatch. I think I haven't seen where his price is across the industry, but if there's no Lopez, that's certainly a guy that you might want to play.
Yeah, definitely. He's 5,500 on FanDuel, which is definitely playable.
Jay Smoove? Question mark. Answer: no.
No, emphatically no.
Screw Jay Smoove. Screw him.
I'm not as emphatic. I still like him in tournament play because his price has come down and he's got such a high ceiling, even though he's been terrible. But
yeah,
I don't know. I'm not as anti Jay Smoove as you guys are. When I see him at 7,000 on FanDuel, sub 13K on DraftStreet, I start to consider him almost regardless of matchup.
Yeah, my question is though, is the upside still the same playing with Drummond and Monroe? Are we expecting things that we saw last year that aren't necessarily ever going to come to fruition in Detroit? And that's one of my concerns.
Yeah, I mean, he's still, I think, got a pretty high ceiling. But yeah, you're right. It's probably lower than it was last season, no doubt. But I think in the past week or two, he had a 50-point outing. And
yeah, he did.
He's just a guy I like to play the price on, kind of like with Dwight, just because they're tough to, those guys are kind of tough to predict. So the matchup always matters, but with them less so, the price matters more. And I think he's just at a point where I'm going to consider him.
One quick, real quick, Dave. Do you think Horford's production has actually been affected by Smith's departure? Because I don't know what it is, and I don't know why it would be, but it's very interesting that the upside is just not there with him this year.
Millsap is playing, has played really well lately. So I don't know. I don't know. I really can't pinpoint what the issue is other than him not taking more initiative. That's what I think is. Something's up where, when you're only shooting 5 times and a half, something's
yeah. Yeah, you're right.
So I think it's more, I just wish that he and the coaches or whoever whatever the issue is with him not trying to shoot as much, I wish that would be resolved. Jordan Crawford versus John Henson. That's an interesting one.
People are going to chase fantasy points with Henson tonight because of what he did to Chicago. But Noah was out in that game. And I think that'll make a huge difference tonight. I think he's still a good play. And I think I'd probably still use him, but I would not expect 60 fantasy points.
That game also went into overtime, too, I think. Did it? Or did it not? No. I was predicting overtime. I don't think it ever got there.
That was the Washington-Milwaukee game a couple days before that.
Yeah, I like Henson. He said Henson versus Crawford, though, right? I think I like Henson over Crawford.
Yeah, me too.
Yeah. Thank you for actually getting to the question, because me and Dave didn't even pay attention to the other side. We were just focused on Henson. But I agree. People are going to be looking at that Henson number without love. Another question is Millsap a good play against Booker?
Yeah, sure.
His price has risen. That's the only issue.
Yeah, I'm not on him because same concern as you. I'm not on him just because I think the price is too high.
Right, because there's so many good power forward plays out there tonight that won't cost you the same amount of money. Right. Like I might be too high on Tim Duncan than other people. I think I am, but I'd play him for significantly cheaper on FanDuel tonight. But
yeah, you have someone ask, what do you guys think of Favors tonight? Listen, Favors has a favorable matchup. No pun intended. With the Nuggets big guys. He should see plenty of time at both front court positions and would probably dominate the glass. Would you guys agree?
Yeah, I mean, Denver really struggles against bigs. This is an incredibly high upside play.
Yeah. I mean, foul trouble, of course, has been an issue from time to time, but I wouldn't be overly concerned with that tonight.
Yeah, I don't know about you guys, but I really expected a lot from him and Cantor this year. At least, I mean, maybe not in real life production, but in fantasy terms, and they've been very inconsistent. But yeah, he should do well tonight against Denver.
I actually read word for word what Scott wrote in The Day Before Tomorrow. That was my analysis on Favors. But
way to do your homework.
Listen, against Denver tonight, he's been playing a lot better, and the issue is they have everybody back now. I would have liked them a lot better last week when they didn't have very many options at the center or power forward position. Last game against Sacramento, 25 minutes. The game before that, 21 minutes. He carries a lot of risk with him. But they're giving more minutes to Cantor and to Williams, and Trey Burke has the ball in his hand more, and you still have to accommodate Gordon Hayward. For some reason, Richard Jefferson couldn't miss a freaking shot against the Kings, which was frustrating. But
Jeremy Evans.
Yeah, Evans. You have all these pieces to this Jazz team, and Dink really likes the Jazz, and I'm on the same. I really like him. I like Trey Burke. I mean, I think that he brings a lot to the table. But because of Trey Burke, I think that it limits Favors' consistency a little bit, because Burke loves to shoot it. He loves to distribute. He loves to kick out. That's what he was doing a lot against the Kings, and that's one of the reasons why they're getting so many open three-pointers, other than the Kings leaving them so wide open. Aaron Aflalo, ? And Wilson Chandler for 5,500. Those will be the last two questions that we take. Dave, I'll let you take the first one. Michael, I'll let you take the second.
All right. You said Aflalo or Chandler?
No, just Aflalo and then 3 question marks, which means he really is wondering about Aflalo.
Okay. Understood. Yeah. For you said he's 5,500, so yeah, I think that he's the kind of guy that I would play for that cheap, but he hasn't been playing well lately. Ever since that 42-point game, he hasn't been the same, and I'm not a big fan. But if he's cheap, I think he's worth a flyer.
Mike?
Yeah, I'm not real big on Wilson Chandler. I'm looking at his FanDuel game log. For 5,500, you're expecting, somewhere around 27 fantasy points. If you look at the last 10 games, he's only hit that mark twice. He's below 20 points in, 6 of those games. He's a guy we talk about having upside, and yet I just don't see it materialize often enough for me to play. I mean, small forward is usually a scarce position, so maybe talk me into it on FanDuel, but not someone I will be utilizing.
Yeah. I just think Chandler is so wishy-washy. He gets all of his points in like buckets and then goes on big-time droughts. I think there's other options that you can utilize at that small forward position and go with someone who is going to get. I would feel more comfortable with going with guys that like Ariza and Turner. KD, he is a little pricey for what you're going to get out of him, but Ariza and Turner and Webster, like Dave, you talked about earlier, he's going to play. So
yeah, and someone just in the chat just mentioned Aminu. He's, for a small forward eligible person, he's a great rebounder. He's 38th of 324 players in the NBA in rebounding rate. I looked this up because I was just pretty caught off guard by how high his rebounding numbers have been. He's first among all 58 small forwards, and I just think that adds a higher floor to him than a lot of other small forwards, because he rebounds so well, and there's a lot more rebound opportunities with Anthony Davis out.
Is it Aminu?
It's Aminu, I thought.
Aminu.
Al-Farouq Aminu.
Okay, Wussel, leave me alone.
Here, hold on. We
Can you
can.
really blame him for that one, though? I mean, that's a name for the ages right
I
there.
mean, I thought everyone knew that it was.
I
Here,
was going fast. I was trying to get out the important material there, Dave.
It's his accent, Dave. Leave him alone.
okay. I think you just put the wrong emphasis on the wrong syllable, is all.
Maybe we should ask Aminu how he says it.
Here, I've got it pulled up. I think I have the link. It's not. It's just not playing. Yeah, it's not playing. I'm trying. It's got a pronunciation for Al-Farouq Aminu. Anyways, it might be like like Chance says the Buffalo version of Aminu. Anyways, that'll do it. One last question: J Wall or Mello? We all on J Wall?
At the same price?
I guess everything considered.
No, I'm on Mello.
Me too.
Okay.
Melo's really cheap on a lot of sites compared, in terms of what his production has been. He's 9,800 on FanDuel. Come on, that's really cheap for him. He was 10,000 last week, and that was cheap. A guy that's putting up a consistent 40, 45 fantasy points a game. Yeah, that's pretty nice.
Same price on Star Street, so I would go with Jay Wall against against Jeff Teague. That's just me though.
Aren't they pretty good at defensive efficiency against point guards? Or are you just saying you don't like Jeff Teague? And
I just don't. I like to target Jeff Teague because and his backups, whoever his backups are.
Atlanta and
Lou
defense.
Go ahead.
No, I was just saying Atlanta is second in defensive efficiency against point guards.
Okay, who cares? That's just a stat.
I'm just referring to what Mike was talking about. Don't shoot the messenger, Dave.
I'm going Rudy Gay on y'all. Who cares about stats? You want to put it on the board too? Who wants to? Put it
on the board.
What's that? That's the second one between us?
Yeah.
All right.
Okay. All right. I'm not sure what we're putting. Maybe a 10 spot or something.
I think we also need Aminu on there too.
Aminu will definitely be on there. Anyways, this is the Fantasy Insiders TV show. Want to give a shout out to DraftDay for sponsoring the show, and we really appreciate them. And it's been a good week. And next week, I think we'll have a studio set up, and we're gonna have a pretty cool tool to show you guys. There, I said it. We're gonna have a tool to show you guys. And it's going to be of the DFS variety, so no comments from Papa Cub in the chat, please. $10,000 worm tonight. It's right now only 20% left, so 79 out of 100. I'm definitely going to be throwing in a few into that bad boy. I've had some success with the worm. That sounded bad. But anyways, want to thank the beautiful people at DraftDay for sponsoring the show. Go check it out. At least you can do is play in a target game and play in the Pick 5. And we'll have another bracket contest next week. Papa Cub in the championship. Mike, you did you do the fix today, or did Dink do not the fix?
The rundown was
rundown.
done. Drew Dinkmeyer did the rundown today.
Okay, well, good stuff. Go to Roto Experts and click on the image that looks like LeBron and D Wade to sign up for that. It's always a good read. And then Dave, you did the article, and they can find you on Twitter, and your article on Fridays on fantasyinsiders.com. And on Friday nights, don't bother you because you're going to be with your girl.
Yeah.
Don't seem so excited.
No, I love her, man. It's just it's a big night in fantasy basketball.
Hey.
Don't upload this on YouTube.
Okay, well then we're going to have. I hope that you were writing down the whole transcription via pen and paper because
I can't have this pop up.
Hey, go subscribe to our YouTube channel too. That'd be awesome. Anyways, that will be it for the show today. Again, thanks for joining us. No college football show tonight, so we'll be back on Monday.
Al-Farouk Amainu. Al-Farouk Amainu.
Nice ending.
That can't be how you say it. That cannot be how you say his name.
What? Am I right?
Al-Farouk
No.
Amainu. Al-Farouk
No.
Amainu.
There's no way.
No.
There's no way it's a Mainu. No.
Can you play it out loud? Can you?
I did. You guys just can't hear it, but they could hear it. It's not. It's not a Manu though. We might both be wrong, but what's new? Anyways, stick around in the chat. Thanks for joining us on the Fantasi Insiders TV show presented by DraftDay, and we will see you on Monday. Later.